And welcome back to the Luke Martin Show. And we're halfway through the years. The Columbus East Olympians are sitting at 4-1. So you know what time it is? You know at school, halfway through your 9 weeks, you get midterm grades. Well, it's time for Professor Luke Martin to step into the studio and give out his grades, Luke's midterm grades on the Columbus East Olympians. We're going to go position by position on the offense and defense, and I'll give you a grade. It's that simple. I'll give you a grade and assess on how the O's did. Well, let's start with the offense, and why not start at the quarterback position and Gunnar Kiel? I think I know what I'm going to give Gunnar here. You know, he's 70 of 92 on the year, 76% completion, passing completion, 21 touchdowns, no picks, averages 307 yards of total offense per game, 16 yards per pass attempt. He gets an A+. Gunnar Kiel's played phenomenal. Before the season, he's like, Luke, I want to cut down on my interceptions. Gunnar Kiel, you're halfway through the year and you've thrown none. Let's keep that up, Gunnar. I probably just cursed him for tonight against Floyd Central. I'm sorry, Gunnar, but keep it up. He has played phenomenal this year. No doubt Gunnar Kiel deserves an A+. Let's go to the running back position and Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson, 55 rushing attempts this year for 491 yards. It's about an 8.9 yards per carry, 98 yards per game. His longest touchdown run has been about 48 yards. 4 touchdowns on the year. He gets an A+ because I really like the way he runs. I think his stats are deceiving, and you got to think this is only a guy that gets a maximum of 13 carries a game. Unlike his counterpart across town in Kobe Cook, who gets probably about 30 carries per game. Unlike Ian Bass, who almost gets 40 attempts per game, depending on how the game's going for Jennings County. So no doubt, Ian Bass, no doubt Andrew Wilson, who I believe is starting to become the best running back in the Hoosier Hills Conference, or should be the best running back in the Hoosier Hills Conference. Andrew Wilson gets an A+ for the job he's done so far halfway through the year. The wide receiving core, man, can we just give A+ for everybody here? The wide receiving core has been phenomenal as well. Shane Henderson, 28 receptions for 765 yards. No doubt he's going to break the 1,000-yard mark this year. 8 touchdowns. Cole Thompson, 7 receptions for 116 yards and a score. Luke Hampton, young Luke Hampton, 16 receptions for 282 yards and 7 touchdowns. And Jackson Renshaw with 16 receptions for 291 yards and 5 scores on the year. The wide receiving core has been phenomenal this year, and everyone knew that they would be phenomenal. The O's wide receiving core gets an A+ yet again. We're continuing with the great grades here so far. The O's wide receiver core has done a phenomenal job. Man, you could not be happier with the way they're performing. No doubt they deserve an A+. Let's give the big uglies up front. The big uglies, I'm just kidding you. They're a nice group of guys. They're good-looking men. The offensive line here at Columbus East, they've done a great job as well. You know, Gunnar Kiel, I believe, has been sacked 3 times this year. But, you know, those times he's been sacked, he's had about 5-6 seconds to throw the football. It's not been a quick sack within 2 or 3 seconds. The offensive line's done a phenomenal job this year. And Tyler Rayburn, Rob McKee, Josh Douglas, Tyson Moore, and Zane Yeager, they get an A+ as well. The offensive line's done a phenomenal job. No doubt they get a passing grade, a big passing grade. They played phenomenal. So the offense overall, A+. They've done a phenomenal job. The offense overall has done a fantastic job. And congrats to Coach Gaddis building another great offense. Now to the defensive side of the football. We'll start at the defensive line. Folks, if it was week 2, the grade may not have been that great, but they have bounced back and had really 3 great weeks, really since week 2. That's why I'm going to give the defensive line a B. I think the defensive line has bounced back. They've really had a really great bounce back since week 2. John Hunter with 13 solo tackles, a sack. Colin Ruff with 10 solo tackles, a tackle for loss. You know, David Johnson, when he's been in there, he's had 2 sacks. Cole Lebo has, you know, played pretty well, about 8 total tackles. Max Fisher, you know, he's only played, I believe, in 2 games this year, or 3 games, I should say, has 5 solo tackles and a tackle for loss. They're performing better than what they did week 2. They're improving each and every week. That's why they get a B. The defensive line deserves that grade. The linebacking core, when you look at the linebacking core this year, Eli Shetmer's played well, 17 solo tackles, 16 assists, 6 assists, so 23 total. He's got 2 sacks on the year. Tyler Shadwick, 22 total tackles, a sack. Ryan Leffler, he's got 2 sacks on the year. Ronnie Washington, look out for Ronnie Washington. I think he's a player that's going to get a lot more playing time towards the end of the year. Ronnie's having a good year with 9 solo tackles and a sack as well. So the linebacker crew really doing well. I know and they get an A-. I think the linebacker crew has done a great job so far this year. Eli trying to come back from injury. They've done a good job so far. Secondary now, moving to the secondary, they've done a good job as well. They get an A-. Like I said, they really haven't tested much, but the 2 leading tacklers on the team, it may not be a good sign that your secondary, 2 guys from your secondary is leading the team in tackles. Wes Accordier with 24 solo tackles, 28 total, a tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections. How about Caleb Maley in the years he's having? He has 31 total tackles, an interception, and 2 touchdowns. Remember the block punt by Shadwick? He ended up returning for the touchdown, and he had an interception ran back for a touchdown. And Jeremy Minor has a pick, 13 total tackles on the year, and 2 pass deflections. The secondary's done a good job. They get an A-. So overall, the defense gets a B+. They've really improved since week 2, like I mentioned multiple times during this segment and multiple times in past shows. So the defense is getting better week by week. No question that the defense is getting better, and I've been very impressed with the defense in the past couple weeks. So Luke's forecast. What am I predicting now halfway through the year? I said before the season the O's will win the sectional title. I think they're going to win the sectional. Am I sticking by that? Folks, it's all about draws. It's all about who you get come sectional time. You know, if we get the easiest road, if we get Martinsville, and they may have to play Bloomington South or Bloomington North, I really like the chances of Columbus East, but it's all about matchups. I got to see who you're going to play along the way, and then it's easier to come with a prediction. But I'm going to stick with it. I think the O's are still going to win the sectional championship. Now, remember, the regional's not that tough. It's the semi-state that's going to be tough. So really, you could see the O's winning the regional championship, but come semi-state time when you may have to play a Warren Central, may have to play one of those big-name Indy schools, it's going to get a little bit tougher. People down here in Columbus, especially on the east side, just don't understand the physicality of those Indianapolis teams. But I predict at least a sectional title, maybe even a regional title for this Columbus East football team. But they got a lot of work to do to even be considered about that, starting with the Floyd Central Highlanders later on tonight. And I will be breaking down that game later on the show. But right after this break, I'll be talking to senior Cole Thompson.
Yeah, you'll never know quitter, 'cause I'ma go.